where you are. And we're very proud to present this workshop today, workshop number 5. You've been following along. We've had some other workshops previous to this one, but this one is very interesting in itself because we're introducing Gen AI or ChatGPT as a tool for helping you develop your own AI projects for your institution or your agency or your company, whatever entity you work for. So just very quickly, some basic housekeeping. So if you can please keep your microphone on mute. We'll definitely have a question and answer session at the end, and during our breakout sessions, you can ask questions there as well. You can keep your camera on or off, whatever you prefer. Again, we'll take questions at the end. Um, we're recording the session. We'll send the recording to all registrants to a link, and we encourage you to share it with others. So again, we've had a number of sessions, workshops we've had a lot of interest in. The first was just an introduction to a real world example in Malta where AI and optimization were applied to a very challenging problem there. We then followed up with a general presentation of how AI can be used in different types of water resources related management problems and prediction problems. We then had a more theoretical presentation where we delved into the theoretical details and underpinnings of artificial neural networks, and how they arose not just from recent developments, but from developments that stem back to the 1940s, and how they were inspired by the biology of the human brain. And then the last project we had, a last workshop, was an introduction to the power of ChatGPT, courtesy of Apex, who are experts in this particular area. It was very informative, including to myself. And I think this workshop will be equally interesting and very valuable because it can show you the real power of ChatGPT for helping you at least formulate an AI related project that can really help your institution go to the next stage of using data for very informed decision making. And we're going to have more workshops in the future. We'll keep you up to date on that. So my name is Emery Capola. I'm the president of NOAA Global Solutions, and we've been around for many years, and we apply AI and optimization of water management problems. I'm joined here by Rui Tusi, who is the president of Apex Environmental and Water Resources, and they're dedicated to bridging the gap between technology and water environmental problems using innovative AI, automation, and BI solutions. Michael Gardner is the CEO of AKAIX, and they're a very advanced database, cloud-based management company that offers advanced solutions. And then we have our special guest, Horia Tedegi, who's an expert in data science, AI. He also has a very strong background in programming and advanced software solutions. He's implemented BI tools on a number of processes for some very large companies. And then finally, John Pierce, who's an excellent project advisor on our team. He's extremely experienced with water technology ecosystems, including software and hardware solutions. And then I will just finish with this last slide and I'll hand it over to Rui. But you just wanted to know, and of course, there's no grade, there's no pass or fail. You know, people have busy schedules, but did any of you or all of you complete your homework? If you could just kind of indicate by a show of hands or as best as you can.
Thank you, Emery. Yes, as Emery mentioned in the last session, we kind of set the stage for this one. And in our communications with you, we provide some homework assignment that kind of prepares you for this session. So if by raise of hand or if you can put in the chat, if anybody needs some time to prepare those homeworks, we're gonna allow you some time to prepare those information. Well, I'm hearing none. I assume that everybody is prepared. You all have your homework assignment done, and you have a background of your organization as what your organization do, what are your responsibilities and operations, and also some of the top issues that you want to answer with an AI tool. So with those in mind, we'll move forward with our presentation and our what we're planning to do today. These are the homework assignments, so I don't think we need to go through it, as I assume all of you have the background already and your issues identified. But the item number 5 here is the most important items that you should have in your hand when we're going to go in the breakout rooms and prepare your action plan. I kept some of the slides from the last workshop we had. It's just some general AI definitions for you to relate to, and if you need to refurbish some of your knowledge and understanding of AI definitions, you can come to these slides. And we discussed in the last session that artificial intelligence is in my opinion, is a contemporary industrial revolution, and it has a lot of business impact. It's going to impact all the industries. It's going to have social impacts, and it's going to have a lot of environmental impacts. All of these data centers require a lot of water to cool down the heat and all the other aspect of the environmental impacts they could impose to our society. So it is very important to be prepared and have a plan and have a roadmap to adopt these new tools and strategies. I assume, as we discussed, you already have done your homework, but if you haven't and you want to think of some ideas as how you can implement AI for certain operations, these are some examples that we discussed very in detail in the last session. And if you are here, if you need to discuss it a little bit, think about it a little bit more. And some of the opportunities for AI and optimization for water management that you can see in this slide. As I mentioned, we discussed them very in detail in the last session. I'm just gonna cruise through them. And right now, I'm going to go to ChatGPT or other generative AI that you guys have and show you some examples on how I utilize this tool for some of the tasks and activities I do as a consultant. Of course, it has a lot of possibilities and a lot of functionalities that you could utilize it for your own needs. I'm just going to, and in the last session, I shared some of the examples, but in this session, I'm going to go more in details and show you exactly how I do my interactions with ChatGPT. The first example I want to show you is preparing a regulatory report, vapor assessment report, where we have a data from laboratory and we want to compare that with the regulatory limits, screening limits that we have, and see if we are above or below the screening limits. First, so to do that, you can just start talking with the ChatGPT and tell it, hey, I want to start writing vapor assessment report. Wait until I share my information. It's going to wait for me until I share my information. The first information I'm going to share with it is my regulatory guidelines. So I already have this data from DTSC, Department of Toxic Substances Control, which they gave me all regulatory limits for each analyte. So you can see all the chemicals are listed here and all the screen levels that they identified and they published. So I tell ChatGPT, here is the regulatory limits from DTSC. Have it. I share my data. I just copy paste it here. It's gonna take some time to analyze those, but while it's doing that, I'm gonna go here and collect my own data. These are the regulated, these are the concentrations and chemical analysis that I received the data from my lab. So I go here and I say, okay, here is my data from lab. Have it until I give you instructions. So here it is, the data I give to ChatGPT. So it has all my data, and now it's going to produce it. I don't want it to do whatever it wants to do, because I mean, it can give you a lot of good ideas and do a lot of good job, but I write my report in my own specific format. So I wanted to do the analysis based on my vision. So I tell it for each.
And I just want to know if he's going to be a part of that. If so, I may not be able to come, as it's at 2:15.
Sorry,
and I have to pick up Debbie at 2.
If you can please mute yourself. We have time for Q&A at some point. I would appreciate that. So for each, I tell ChatGPT for each analyte, please tell me the range of detection, sample with mean and max concentrations, and compare it to the regulatory limit. Write me a paragraph for each analyte. With this back and forth with ChatGPT, I was able to create my report. For each analyte, it tells me benzene was detected between these samples. These are either above or below the regulatory limits. And now I have my report. Before this, I used to go through my table one by one, analyze it in my eyes, see what is the range, what is the regulatory limits, and compare those one by myself, which I could have a lot of mistakes. And by the way, ChatGPT still has a lot of mistakes. You gotta be double checking, making sure it's not hallucinating. That's a term that is used for generative AI when they create data from where it's not there, because when it cannot understand what's going on, it creates data out of nowhere. But as you can see, very fast and very quickly, I was able to compare my data based on the regulatory limits that I had. That was one example. We had another comment in the last session that, hey, can you show us how you write proposal with ChatGPT? So for this one, I'm choosing phase 2 environmental site assessment. It's a type of project that we do as environmental consultants. So I tell ChatGPT, hey, I want to, and I'll be very fast with this. I want to develop a proposal for phase 2 environmental site assessment. So it's going to go ahead and give me a couple of options, but and it gives me, like, sometimes with the new version, it gives you 2 options and tells you which one do you like better, which direction you want to go. And for example, we choose this one. I tell it stop. Why? Because it gives me a very broad and expansive list of activities to do. And I don't write my proposal that way. So a way that you can direct your own version and your own ideas and vision is to define the tasks for it. So you tell the ChatGPT, for my project, I have these tasks. You define your task. Okay, task 1 is project management. Task 2, pre-field activities. Tasks 3. But again, for each project, you can define your own vision with it. And if you don't have a vision, ChatGPT can help you to define that vision. Task 3 is field implementation. And task 4 is report preparation. And with this, I write the proposal my vision, with my tasks that I identify, and then you can add more details to it. The best way to go with projects like this is to first define your outline, define what you envision as a whole, and then go through it. One last thing I want to show, we were scheduling to go at 11:20 to the breakout rooms, but I want to show one more last session, last thing that you can do with ChatGPT, and that is reading large documents and extracting what you want to get out of that document. So for example, hey, please read the attached document, which is a regulatory guideline for how to develop a modeling project and in accordance with U.S. Army Corps of Engineers guidelines and being compliant with the requirements. So I'll tell ChatGPT, hey, please read the attached document and give me a checklist of certain activities that I need to do, comply with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers modeling requirements. And just put the document in ChatGPT, and you need a paid version to be able to share the documents and links. But very quickly, ChatGPT goes, reviews the document, and gives me a checklist that I can go and further examine, go to the document, see the exact section, and further evaluate it. But it's very powerful that you can review a 300 pages document, 100 pages document, 200 pages document in seconds and extract the information that you need for your job and for your activities. So with that, we'll start getting into the breakout rooms. Unless there is any question at this point, before go into the breakout rooms.
Well, so Ruhi, thank you. Let me just explain the breakout room thing. So in a minute, I'll be opening up the breakout rooms. Each of you have been put into one of two different rooms. In those rooms, you will have coaches from our team who will coach you through using GPT on your own. That was the purpose of the homework, was to set you up with both a GPT account and a ChatGPT account and the prompts. If you don't feel like you want it, like it's really a very safe kind of situation because you don't necessarily have to share it with everyone. You can do it on your own. You can give it a try. You know, if it doesn't work, no one will necessarily know. If you want help, your coach is there to help you with it. Your coach also can just do more examples of what Ruhi was just showing. So, you know, there's no failure here. It's all good, and it's all a great way to learn. And with that, I'm going to put us into the breakout rooms. We're going to be in the breakout rooms for about 20 minutes. There's going to be about 10 people in each of the rooms. When you're ready to come back, I will close the rooms and you'll be coming back. You also can come back to the main session anytime you want. There's a button at the bottom of your Zoom window that will let you come back, I believe. But I'll be closing the Zoom rooms in about 20 minutes. Okay, here we go.
Guess people are still in the other room.
Yeah, sometimes Zoom takes about a minute before it puts people back in. Um, yeah, here people are coming back in now. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, is there any questions so far? Anybody has
Rui,
any
I think
comments?
Richard was
I
asking.
think Richard has a question.
Yeah,
Richard?
yeah, Richard, please feel free to ask your question here.
May not be back yet.
I see Richard. Richard.
Richard, you have to you can unmute your microphone, or you can, which
Yeah.
you should be able to do on your own with the control at the bottom of the Zoom screen. You can click on the button and unmute, or you can post your question into the chat.
Hmm.
Or if you guys know the question, you can relate it to us.
Yeah, he started the question. I know the British guy in the US government met recently, but oh, here he is.
Okay, okay, I'm back on. Are you here? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can hear you,
Okay.
Richard. Sure.
Yes. I was saying there was a very recent meeting between the United States department, I don't know which department, and the Guyanese government regarding they discussed issues of mutual interest, and um, a couple of these items were climate resilience, food security, and energy transition. The question I have is how can I use ChatGPT to elaborate on these three items so I can understand better what is it they you know
Well,
That's a
the,
great
the
question.
what
first
they're
thing you
looking
could,
for.
the
That's
first
a
thing you
great
could,
question.
the first thing you could do is just ask it, because, you know, Rui made this point in the breakout room that he was running, but these large language models are basically ingesting all the information on the internet, and that's what they use as their basic data set. And if you think about it, really what ChatGPT is, or any of these sort of Gen AI tools, they're basically query engines to let you query the corpus of human knowledge as represented on the internet, basically. So you could start off just by asking ChatGPT to what do you know about that announcement? And then you could start progressing through asking details as it starts to tell you what it does know. Now, if there's some news or some information that has not yet been ingested into the LLM, it may not know about it. And also there are cases where the LLMs will so-called hallucinate and make things up, but where they have gaps basically because they're not self-aware yet. But you could just try that, Richard, yourself by starting to ask, what do you know about this announcement, and what do you think the implications of it are? And then you could progressively drill through into details and iterate through it, and just using it as a better query tool, basically.
It's almost like having your own personal secretary, Richard, where you just start to just ask it, in sentences, just basic questions. And like Mike said, it'll start to give you responses, and you can drill down deeper on as you feel the need. But it's literally just, what happened in this situation, or, what do they do? Talk about the climate resiliency in British Guyana, and just see the responses you get and just respond accordingly.
And if you have a press release or a document that was generated from that meeting, if you share that with it, it's gonna give you a lot better information and output, as Mike was mentioning. And yeah, like starting small, keep the conversation going with it, and keep it outlined, starting very small and expanding on it. That's the key. If you go very big, it might hallucinate and not give you the best answer. But if you start small and then expand from that, that's where you get to the best results and answers that you want to get from.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Good
And
question. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. And if you want, yeah, I'll be happy to brainstorm with you a little bit more. So feel free to send me an email or some if you want to talk offline.
Okay.
No problem.
We have time for just one more question if anybody else has a question. Otherwise, we have just a few other points of information to wrap up. But any other quick, do we have one more question basically, or one more observation from anybody?
Hello, good afternoon. Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, please, go ahead. And
Oh,
please
hi, good
introduce-
afternoon. I'm sorry. I wanted to check if you'd hear me first. First of all, it's been so informative. Hello, Emery. I know you can't see me, but I can see you, and it's great to see you. My name is Joy, and I have a really quick question. I know you have to move on. It seems when Emery was showing us the examples about how to talk to ChatGPT, that there is possibly, I don't know because I haven't used it extensively, but is there a certain language that I need to know, first of all, how to communicate with ChatGPT? What are the most efficient ways to ask? Is there an efficient way, or is there a certain language in order to get it to respond in the most efficient way to my question? Because I'll tell you why. I see that when you ask questions or when you give it commands, you reuse certain phrases like wait for me or have it or things like that. And is that like how we're meant to be using it in order to get it to respond?
Well, I put those weights because if you don't put it there, it's gonna start spitting out its own idea. And I kind of like to dictate my own idea to it, so it goes with my direction. But no, you can use any type of language, and it understands any type of language. Like I'm bilingual. I even talk to it Farsi. And another cool thing about ChatGPT is like if you have the app on your phone, you can even
Right.
just talk to it, and I don't need to type anymore. I just talk to it in my own language, and it responds to whatever language you speak to it. So yeah, it doesn't need to be a certain language. You just need to be very clear
Okay.
with your questions.
Right. So whatever words or phrases that you deem necessary in order to get the most definitive response from it, it's all up to you and how you structure that question. I
Exactly.
understand. Thank you
Exactly.
so
It's all-
much. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
I mean, I don't mean to simplify it. They know much better than myself, Poria and Rui and Mike and John, but I think in general, it's like Google, like an internet search. You just want to be as specific as you can with the question, because then it will go to the heart of your question. If you're very vague or very general, you don't know where it might go because it doesn't have the information to really process your question and identify where you're basically searching for answers or what you want to know.
Great. So with that, Rui, do you want to take us home?
I think John is gonna take us home.
Oh yeah, John, sorry.
Yeah, do you have that slide?
Yes, it's right here.
I don't.
Do you see it?
Oh yes, here we go. So I've been lucky enough to be able to join the team to help really build out the network of potential projects, and not so much from a sales point of view, but trying to really uncover sort of groundbreaking opportunities that are ideal for this team. And I hope you got a sense of the kind of the personalities of this group, because it's a total pleasure working with this team. They're amazingly friendly and collaborative and smart. And even though there's only 5 of us on this call, the combined force of all of our teams is 30, 40 people. And some of these folks have 35, 40 years experience working with AI, neural networks. ChatGPT is super user-friendly, but when you have to solve very complex optimization problems and you need to develop a custom neural network, that's where our team can really help you achieve great things in a very short period of time. So let's see, these are some of the questions that we put together to really help you figure out what's the magic key within your organization to unlock the innovation that AI is capable of achieving. And we'd love to help you brainstorm with your management team to figure out, what's their thinking with respect to this technology. What's their plan? Because if you don't have a plan for AI, it's going to sort of happen to you. And then to realize, as you know, the industrial revolution that's occurring through AI is going to create opportunities for problems that we're not even looking to solve right now. And one of those is how to collaborate with our neighboring water agencies to solve regional problems. And this to me is where the gentleman, Richard, who asked about food security, that is essentially a regional problem that I think we're just not asking ourselves the right questions yet. I think AI will be the heuristic. It'll be the catalyst to help us imagine really what problems we need to start solving. And please give me a ring. Please look me up on LinkedIn. My name is spelled P-E-A-I-R-S, and link in with me. I can help provide persistent connection with this team and your team. Thanks so much.
So again, we'll have a next session will be announced shortly, but we believe it's going to be it'll be more of a case study, which I think a lot of our attendees have found very useful and informative. And we'll have a few more after that. And I will say, if anyone has any suggestions for future workshops, we're always open to entertain them. So please feel free to share that with any one of us. And I believe our email contacts are on the next slide. So yes, we'd like to, again, please encourage you to share this with other people. The water industry has been very slow to adapt to AI. Unfortunately, I think much of the detriment, not just of the industry, but to the world at large, because the problems are so challenging. There's so much need out across the world, across the globe, for better decision-making and better data analysis. We'll be sending you a recording of this, and we'll contact you regarding future workshops. And again, if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions for future workshops, please contact any of us posted below and John, and we'll be happy to get back to you. And if you'd like to have more discussion with us again, yes, we'll be very pleased to do so with you and your organization. And thank you so much. We most appreciate your time and interest.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.